This episode of The Libby Show is brought to you by Suite 501 and Integrated Production Solutions.
Hey, I'm Caleb Chapman from the band Colony House, and you're watching The Libby Show.
How did she do it? Do it.
Libby. Libby. Libby.
3, 2,
Libby.
1.
It's the Libby Show.
I love this piano behind you. It's so cool.
I was gonna go with a stone backdrop, but then I was like, no, piano.
Oh, piano.
It feels on brand.
So on brand. Did you plan to take out that front part, like on purpose, or does it come like that?
I think it came like this. So the story behind this piano is, my dad, once again, was on tour, and this was, I think it was in like the lobby of maybe a church or something like that. And I mean, it's from like early 1900s, and I don't know where the date is, but he was playing it and was like, gosh, that piano is amazing. And I think the pastor or someone was like, well, we've been trying to get it out of here. If you want it, you can have it. So they just put it in the trailer of the bus and brought it home, and it's incredible. So I don't know. I think they took the panel off because when you're recording, you put the mics up in here.
Oh, gotcha.
So,
Well, it's gorgeous. So, I mean, keep it.
yeah, will do.
So this is a pretty big week for you all. How are you? You're planning for your drive-in experience. What has it been like?
It's been crazy.
Yeah.
I'm not gonna front. It's been wild, and we have never done this before, and we're not really like following the guidelines of some playbook for drive-ins. It's just like, well, I guess we could do this, and I guess we could do this. So we've literally built it from the ground up, because it's actually not in a pre-made drive-in theater. It's at a wedding venue that is this beautiful property in downtown, or in South Franklin, and it's just gorgeous. So we were like, gosh, that field is big enough to put a bunch of cars in. What if we could bring everything in and create our own experience? So I'm as curious as everyone else to know how it's going to turn out.
It looks really cool. It's called the Everyone is Looking for Some Light Drive-In Concert Experience. It features a 4-part movie and then a concert immediately after. Was this movie already in the plan for 2020 initially, or was it something that you kind of came up with in the midst of getting adjusted during this time of creating this drive-in experience?
It was not in the plan at all. And that's a big kind of part of I'll call it a plot line loosely, is, the story of the pandemic, and it pretty much saying, whatever your plans are or were for 2020, forget about it. We're changing it up. So, everyone was put in this really curious kind of position of like, what are we doing now? And industry, all kinds of industries were put in the same place. So this was our answer to that question, was, well, what are we going to fill this space with? And I started working on, it all started because I was putting together a couple live songs from the tour and from a show in Nashville that we did. And as I pieced it together, I was like, I think there's enough here to actually do something with. And so I've used just archived Colony House footage from the last couple of years, and to kind of give a behind the scenes look at all the things we've put out. So like whether it's the album or the music videos or these little acoustic videos, it kind of shows how we got to each of these places leading up to the tour we were on and then it canceling. So it's just like making it up as we go.
Which I love. And I remember I was listening to another interview that you did with another podcast, and you were talking about the three album concert that y'all did earlier in the year at Cannery. Yeah. And I feel like that's something that y'all are known for, of just creating these out of the box experiences for your fans. And so I want to know from more of a personal standpoint of like how that went for you, and how maybe that experience prepared you to kind of wing it for this drive-in situation.
Yeah, totally. I am typically, out of the four of us, I usually have an idea. I usually come up with an idea, and then I try to tell everyone how it's a bad idea. That's usually how it goes. It's like, come up with this idea, and everyone's like, that is amazing. We got to do it. And then I'm like, no, wait, hold on. No, we shouldn't do that. That's a bad idea. And that's how that Cannery show went. We had kind of talked about that idea for a couple of years, and we had back pocketed, the idea. And when we were trying to figure out what are we going to do for an album release party, in the past we've done like a small show at Grimey's, which we love. And then we usually go and get pizza or something. Yeah. And we were talking about what we were going to do. And I remember being like, well, this is our third album, and there's 3 venues at Cannery. We could play each album in each different room. And then the idea that was already kind of existed made a ton of sense. And it was like, all right, let's do it. So I guess to sum it up, I was terrified. The guys were stoked. And it was one of those things where I like everything to be perfect. And with something that kind of big, it's not going to be perfect. Yeah. And it was a great practice in just letting go of needing everything to be dialed in exactly how you want it, and just, like capturing the moment. That was what that whole thing was about. It was like a humongous thank you to the fans and to the people who have been with us since the beginning, as well as like that was the way we felt, like celebrating how far we had come, So awesome. And so how it relates to this event, I think it has freed us up a little bit to explore those ideas that like, hey, when Colony House does something, it's going to be outside the box. It's going to, I hope it feels like a family reunion in a way. Like I have one of our fans was telling us she like gathered all of the cities where people are coming in from for this drive-in event.
Wow. And
because I was curious, and it's from all over the place. I mean, literally all over San Diego, New York, Philly, Milwaukee, like the whole country is kind of coming to our hometown of Franklin. And I just want it to feel like, I want it to feel like this amazing event and this big show, but I also want it to feel like just like a family reunion, a fun family reunion.
And I think that people need that more than ever right now. And first of all, that's a very dedicated fan, so props to whoever that is to gather all of that information.
So cool.
Yeah. Speaking of letting go, I want to follow up, with the album title, Leave What's Lost Behind. And I've listened to this album so much this year, and there's a couple songs that I'm excited to chat about with you. But first question, what's freeing to you about moving forward in a way that relates to the song Leave What's Lost Behind? As a creative, whether, there's something that didn't go as planned while writing a song, or maybe just in your personal life, what does it mean to you to let go at this point in your life?
Yeah, that's a great question. If you follow Colony House at all, if you've kind of been on the journey, that is a reoccurring theme moving forward. That's a song we've played since the first album. Lose Control is another song off the first album. And then those blend nicely right into Leave What's Lost Behind, this idea of moving forward. I kind of wrestled with the idea of Leave What's Lost Behind because it kind of sounds like you're giving up on something. But I think the song is more about, this isn't like the prettiest word, but shedding a layer, you know, and it's really, it's not about giving up on something and leaving that lost thing behind, because I do believe that the past holds so much kind of rich. It is rich, and memories and nostalgia and all that is something that I love. I think this idea of losing control and not holding so tightly to a fragile life frees our souls up in a way that we can really live for the moment. You know, it's a cliche thing, but cliche is true. That's why it's cliche. And so, yeah, I think artistically, personally, everything usually is funneled into, you know, at the same time, my personal stuff is coming out as the artistic stuff. I think that there's a freedom that comes with leaving the lost things, the things that are tying us down, the things that are holding us back from moving forward. There's a freedom when we can just loosen our grip to explore, you know, what lies ahead.
You do mention that on another song on the album, which I have to say is my favorite, Why Even Try?
Oh, yeah.
Okay, so what I love about this song is I feel like at some point you do mention that there is hope to be found in life somewhere, someplace. But I love that the focus is just acknowledging the fact that we ask ourselves these questions. Because I know it's been hard for me at times to admit that I ask, you know, something that I started didn't just dissolved. What is the point? And so I want to know for you, you know, why this song has meant so much to you. And, you know, does it address just acknowledging that frame of mind?
That song was like getting dragged behind a car. Like, it was so difficult to write. It was difficult to finish because for me, it's really easy to write about the bummer stuff. Like that is, I don't know. It's hard. I guess that is life, right? Like sometimes it's really hard to find silver linings when in the hard stuff. And so the first half of that song came really naturally, really easily. And Scotty, our guitar player, I always knew I wanted to kind of put a twist on the idea of Why Even Try, because for 3/4 of that song, Why Even Try is one of these, like, why even try? Why? I feel like I'm doing everything I can and it keeps falling apart. So why even try? And I wanted to put a turn on that. But I didn't know how. And Scott, our guitar player, really, he like encouraged me the whole time. I mean, it probably was over a year or two long of writing that song. And days, I remember just walking like outside of the studio it sounds dramatic, but spending all day, 8 hours thinking about it and trying to flip the song somehow, and I couldn't do it, which was perfect for that song. That's like the whole idea of the song is like trying and and it just not happening. And finally I remember I just was fed up and I went into the studio And I just was like, I'm going to push record and I'm just going to sing. It was just me. I'm just going to sing whatever comes to my brain. Like, and obviously it's not as cool as it sounds. Like it wasn't just like I freestyled the rest of the song, but through that practice, I started like kind of a gut reaction to turning that phrase around of, flipping it on its head of, you know, everything if you try to shoulder all the responsibility, if you try to like control every aspect of life, it's too heavy. It's too, like, you need other people, you need other brains, you need other hearts, you need someone's hand to hold. So why even try to hold so tightly to everything? And when I arrived at that being the why even try, I was like, oh, I got it. I think that's the flip. I think I was able to flip it on its head and kind of have this sigh of relief, you know, at the end of that song. All of the tears, all of the fears, they're too heavy to carry alone. So why even try? So yeah, that song I think will always hold a special place in my heart because of kind of the battle that we all went through to finish it.
Yeah. Yeah. And I think the melody carries obviously that feeling of like, you know, dang it, that's not working out, but also, okay, now I'm accepting that this is how it is and I can live freely and move forward, as you would say. Let's talk about El Capitan for a second.
Oh yeah.
What I love about this song is there's so many different sounds, and I like tried to list them out, tried to really pick apart, like, but I think it's done so well. You've got the acoustic in there. You've got almost this like change, like cash register sound going on in there. Just so much. So like, what was the production process for that song? Because it's fun.
Yeah. Oh, that song was so fun. We were on tour with Switchfoot.
Okay.
And we I was riding a lot on that tour. It was our first tour to be on a bus. And so I had some space to like actually write on the road. We weren't just driving our van the whole time. And that was an idea melodically that just came as a fun song. I wrote it on an acoustic guitar, and I had that chorus. It was two separate ideas, the verse and then the chorus, because as you know, that chorus slows down. It's a totally different feel. And so I was just playing it for the guys, and Will, my brother, took it and started programming to it. And he made the kind of backbeat verse thing with that change sound you're talking about. I love that too, because I don't know what it is. I think it's just a sample he had. And I always thought, once we landed on it being called El Capitan, I thought it sounded like a mountaineer, like hammering into a wall. So like, but yeah, it's just a quirky kind of onslaught of people throwing ideas at the table, and it kind of pays homage to like a little bit of the surf rock thing that Colony House loves, and very heavily guitar, you know, it's just a ton of guitars, which is also a Colony House thing. So yeah, that was probably one of the most fun songs to record on Leave What Sauce Behind, just because it was like, we can do whatever we want. So, yeah, let's just put that chorus idea and this verse idea together and do this really dramatic, you know, slow down. Lyrically, I love how it turned out, because it's this kind of fun love song that I think actually, when you listen to it, kind of packs kind of a punch.
Yeah, it does.
And it has a little bit more meat than maybe it puts off. It's like a healthy meal that tricked you, because you were like, that was really good. And then it was like, oh wait, it was good for me too? Cool. I might have to have a little bit more of that.
Second helping. And did you ever watch the Free Solo film? Because I did think about that.
Of course. That's the guy on the TV we were watching.
Yeah.
Although I will say, the first one I watched was called The Dawn Wall.
Was that on Netflix?
It is.
Okay.
It's incredible. And it's about, I think, Tommy Caldwell, who's
Yes.
in Free Solo. He's kind of the guy's like, you know,
He's like his mentor almost.
yeah, he's Alex's mentor. And, but Dawn Wall is his story, and it's really inspiring. And I just love these guys, just kind of what it meant to them, you know, climbing, you know, so much more. It's kind of like when people are like, you're in a band, you can't be that serious. I'm like, I know, right? But it's kind of what yeah, but it's kind of what you pour into it. It's like, it's your outlet. Everyone has an outlet.
That's awesome.
So yes, that was definitely the inspiration visually behind that song.
Visually, yeah, and you've got a lot of really great visuals for this album. I mean, y'all, I feel like that's kind of, again, been something a part of your I don't even like saying the word branding, but your message, your look, you know. Yeah. Original material. I love that music video. Who made the heads, yeah.
That was me.
Yeah, that was you.
I made those heads.
You made all of them?
I made all those heads. I did. I spent too much time making those heads. But we had the idea. There's an artist in Tennessee, and I'm going to blank on his name too. Dang it. White. What's his first name? He had a documentary on Netflix as well. If I think of his name, I'll send it your way. But he makes these big kind of cartoony kind of cardboard heads, and I was like, whoa, those are so crazy. And I was like, I'm gonna try that for this idea, because you know, like the whole kind of idea behind original material is, you know, be yourself, take off the mask. You know, like, you don't have to try to be original. You were born original. You were just, you is original. Yeah. And so I made one of them, and I sent a picture to the guys. I was like, is this worth it, or does this look terrible? And they're like, bro, it's pretty funny. I think you should do it. So I probably spent 2 weeks just hunkered down in my house with cardboard, duct tape, and paint. That's what those are made out of.
That's so good. And I'm like, I was watching it, I was like, I wonder if they like hired someone to make these, but the fact that you made them yourself is even better, because they look so good, and they're accurate to expressions, everything. So
if you saw them in person, it'd make a little bit more sense. Oh, yeah, these are definitely homemade.
Yeah, and you've got, you know, the West Coast obviously incorporated in a lot of what you've done for this album. For the looking for some like lyric video, I felt like I was watching a very triumphant end to a movie. Like, just so did you have that was there a movie that inspired like the look of that, or was it just in your head to have this very simple running with the lyrics rolling like credits?
Man, all of that, everything you've seen from Leave What's Lost Behind was more or less just spur of the moment ideas, because and that's what a lot of this movie, probably half of this movie we're about to release, is talking about the trip where we got all that stuff. And we had a loose idea of like, well, we could go there and try this. Yeah. But it was just us in our van going and showing up. Like, there was no like scouting or anything like that. It was just like, let's show up and create something that fills the space appropriately. And so that video specifically was right outside of Big Sur, it's a state park called Garrapatta State Park on Garrapatta Beach. And we were supposed to go straight from Yosemite and drive back to San Diego to drop off the guy videoing everything. That's where he lived. And last minute, when I was like, I'd never been to Big Sur, and that's kind of a bucket list place for me. And we were in Yosemite, and we were about to start heading south, And I just looked up, like, where is Big Sur in relation to where we're at? And it was only like, 3 or 4 hours away. And I was like, we're driving in the van. I'm like, guys, Big Sur is only 3 or 4 hours away. We could totally go and film something in Big Sur, and then we'll just go to San Diego. We'll just drive all day. So we'll go super early, film something at sunrise, and then we'll make it down to San Diego by that night.
Mhm.
And everyone was like, okay, that sounds good to us. And so we stayed in a hotel. We woke up at like 3, and we drove into Big Sur. And have you ever been out there to Big Sur?
Okay, so I've been out to California, I've been out to New Mexico, but Big Sur is not, I have not been there, and I want to go so bad.
Oh, you gotta go. So Big Sur, what's so beautiful about it is it's pretty, it's very remote. For it being in California, they have not touched it really. So streetlights, no. Like road signs, no. It feels like you're in Jurassic Park. So what we didn't really plan for is like, we couldn't see anything. We couldn't see where we were shooting. We had some friends that had been before, and they were like, you should go here. This sounds like a good spot. And that was that Garrapatta Beach. So we finally found it after a couple hours of searching. And yeah, because there's no service. So your phone loses like the GPS thing.
Oh, that's literally that gives me anxiety. Yeah.
Now there's only one road in and out. So, but you couldn't see where you needed to stop. So we just like crossed our fingers, went down to the beach. And as the sun kind of started rising, it was a really foggy day, but as it kind of illuminated the space, we were like, oh my gosh, this is epic. But we didn't have a plan. It was like, I guess looking for some light would be appropriate here. I
was just about to say, y'all were legit like, no, we need light now because we don't know where we're going.
We were actually looking for some light. So we were just trying to think like, what could we do in a timely manner, but also kind of has this like, like part of our thing is we're just friends, and we always want it to feel like, that bigger than everything we're doing, like we're in this together, and I mean, we're just running on a beach, but our arms around each other, and this, we're tired, and we've had so much fun doing this, but there's been a struggle to it as well. It felt just like, let's just, chariots of fire this, and run down the beach and let the scenery do all the work. So
good. So good. I love it. No, it was just like I love these videos that just give more of a like bigger picture idea to the song, and it's simple, and I think simple is always a good way to go, especially for songs like that. Just in general, what brings you light in your life, whether that's your family, what are some simple things that give you light?
I mean, for sure, my family. I've been married to the same girl since I was 19, known her since I was 9. So there's a lot of light there. And we have 2 kids now. So those are just the kind of givens.
Yeah.
Very close with my family, and very close with her family, which is amazing. Mm-hmm. I think the idea of that song is really, it's meant to be like an equalizer of like, just remember, we're all, no matter where we're coming from, what walk of life, race, religion, fill in the blank. We're all just like, we're all looking for light. Yeah. And I think if someone asked in a meet and greet, like they're like, you all have kids, like if you could teach your kids to live by one of your lyrics, which lyric would you choose? And I was like, whoa, that's a heavy question. But looking for some light was my answer. because I think it gives you grace for the person in the room, that in the person sitting next to you in an airplane. It's like, remember that person is looking for light. No matter where they're at in their life. So, yeah, for me, music and creating is that idea of like looking for light. My faith is hopefully pretty obvious in our songs. But again, it's like embracing the struggle, not just when you're standing in the light. It's really, for me, like it's embracing the moments where we're waiting for that sunrise,
Right.
So
Show up. Yeah.
Yeah. Well, what y'all have created here is awesome. Everybody can check out Colony House, Facebook, Instagram, Twitter. And again, thank you so much and have a great week.
Thank you. Appreciate it.
Of course.
See you later.
It's the Libby Show. The Libby Show. It's the Libby Show. It's the Libby Show.